Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and Restless official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Ashley Abbott will be able to identify it as Martin Laurent after being questioned, according to the Young and the Restless recap for Wednesday, April 9th. If Phyllis Summers' suspicion is correct, Summer Newman might also be about to approach Kyle Abbott. When Chance Chancellor returns with additional details, she will still be at Sharon Newman's house with Nick Newman. The room where Sharon and Phyllis were detained was connected to a video system in the farmhouse that was connected to the Paris clinic. Police will look for fingerprints and DNA as Phyllis and Sharon's phones were also discovered inside the property. Chance intends to obtain that information as well because Martin was arrested a few years ago and the clinic may have Alan Lauren's fingerprints on file. Jack Abbott will place Tracy Abbott's chat with Alan on speakerphone at the GCAC. Alan's threatening inquiries and Tracy's terrified response will worry Ashley and Jack. The detective will leave Sharon alone with Nick once Jack texts Chance. Although Nick will commend Sharon for her resilience, Sharon will consider how much she has endured in recent months and long for this to all be finished. When they return to Tracy's apartment, Alan will still notice a shift in her and insist on knowing what's in her pocket. As the argument intensifies, Tracy will pressure Alan to leave, so he will eventually apologize grudgingly and ask her to be truthful about what's happening. Alan will inquire as to whether Tracy gave her brother a signal to come save her after Jack arrives at the door. Tracy will pretend that's absurd, but after she lets Jack in with Ashley, she will undoubtedly feel relieved. Alan will still be furious about Tracy calling off the wedding, but Jack will pretend that Ashley was only trying to get together for a family reunion. Ashley will mention that Alan had said that postponing satisfaction could have a certain allure. Ashley will find it strange that Alan won't recall that because it was something that truly stuck with her. Tracy will give him a short kiss and anticipate that they will work things out when Alan ultimately demands time alone. But after Alan leaves, Ashley will break some bad news. Ashley will be certain that's not the real Alan at all because she's known him for a long time. Ashley will maintain that it was Martin all along and point to his recent cunning. In the end, Tracy will question what it says about her if she could fall in love with a monster, after first being in denial. Since Martin is an expert at deceiving people, Ashley won't believe Tracy should put the burden on herself. Instead, she believes that if Tracy had met the real Alan, they could have been able to fall in love. As Jack informs Chance that Alan, alias Martin, is leaving the suite, Tracy will wind up sobbing in Ashley's arms. Chance will then have a chance to survey the dining area before stopping Alan beside the bar. Alan will play dumb and become irritated when Chance begins to inquire about the farmhouse lease that was acquired through the Paris clinic. Chance will offer to explain things to Alan down at the station since he will feel like he is being questioned and say he doesn't know why. She will abruptly appear determined and storm out the door of Tracy's suite. Tracy will confront Alan, also known as Martin, downstairs, and Ashley and Jack will follow. Tracy will corner the man in front of her and demand that he reveal his identity to her immediately if he ever harbored any feelings for her. Phyllis will run across Summer Newman at Crimson Lights and sit down at a table with her. Summer will lose it over this man who used to live with Harrison Abbott after Phyllis discusses Chance's thoughts that Alan might be Martin and responsible for the kidnapping mess. Eventually, the conversation will shift to Chance ending Summer's relationship because she is still infatuated with Kyle Abbott. Phyllis will then be worried about what Summer will do next. "You're not going to try to court Kyle, are you?" On Wednesday's YNR program, Phyllis will inquire. According to previews for The Young and the Restless, Summer may soon make some bold choices about her romantic life, so keep an eye out. Let's talk about the characters who will experience love destruction because spoilers for The Young and the Restless indicate that 3 broken hearts are on the verge of happening. Here's what fans can anticipate from YNR, which is undoubtedly going to cause some anguish for some Genoa City residents. 1. Abbott. Tracy. First up is Tracy Abbott, whose suspicions that Alan Laurent is actually Martin Laurent have already caused her sorrow. It appears that Martin's true identity and the fact that he planned the clinic's captive scheme will soon be confirmed to Tracy. Tracy will be devastated when everything goes wrong because she intended to marry Alan and lead a lovely life with him. Alan, also known as Martin, is not Tracy's ideal partner, he is a deadly monster. Life in GC must continue even though it will be difficult for Tracy to pick up the pieces of her broken heart. 2. Newman, Claire Newman could experience heartbreak from a variety of sources. Audra Charles could be able to end Kyle Abbott and Claire's romance if she finally agrees to Victor Newman's proposal. Victor might coerce Claire into seeing a less admirable side of Kyle with Audra's help, destroying their relationship in the process. If that occurs, Claire will experience heartbreak over losing Kyle, and if she learns of Victor's sabotage, she may also experience heartbreak over it. A contributing element in all of this is jealous Summer Newman, who may exacerbate Claire's impending suffering. 3. Hastings, Nate. If Audra follows through on this Kyle takedown plan, Nate Hastings might be preparing for his own tragedy. Audra and Nate's romance may suffer as a result, particularly if she keeps her plans for Victor a secret. The fact that Audra is even thinking about working for Victor could pose a serious issue for Nate. Naturally, we cannot overlook Holden Novak in his previous relationship with Audra, which might not be so distant after all. Stay watching for updates on how far these former lovers might go, as Holden and Audra's flirting later this month could push them over the edge. In any case, Nate might experience heartbreak when his father delivers some awful news. Don't miss any of the upcoming romance turns on The Young and the Restless, as spoilers indicate that a number of characters will have to guess what will happen in their upcoming chapters. According to teasers for The Young and the Restless, Tracy Abbott is somewhat hopeful despite her darkest concerns. She wants to think that either Martin Laurent, his presumed deceased brother, hasn't been impersonating as Alan Laurent in recent months, or that Alan Laurent isn't the kidnapper. Fans remember Ashley Abbott contacting her buddy Alan while she was in Paris, France. She sought psychiatric assistance, which Alan specializes in, due to the perceived severity of her fallout with Tucker McCall. The audience discovered that Ashley and Alan had been friends for many years. But when he got to Genoa City, Wisconsin, instead of developing a romantic angle, the man who was thought to be Alan showed interest in Tracy, and a sweet plot seemed to emerge. Tracy Abbott was prepared to fail. One might ask why Tracy, of all individuals, was chosen to be the target of Alan or Martin. Despite his criminal past, this Laurent brother might have developed feelings for her. It would be incorrect to assume that a villain is incapable of love. Victor Newman, the guy to whom Tracy gave her daughter Colleen Carlton's heart, has done even worse things than Cousin's character did. However, there is little doubt that Victor adores Nikki Newman. Martin might still be in love with Tracy even if Alan died when he and his identical twin brother fell out of that window in Paris. It's unclear if he turns out to be Aristotle Dumas as well. However, he would have the funds to possibly dodge any long-term legal repercussions, as Victor has done over the years of soap operas. Ashley Abbott returning from Frances Paris Davidson's contract is recurrent. Ashley is therefore only occasionally seen. Since his identification has not yet been verified or refuted, the name Alan will be used for convenience throughout this piece. Ashley's return to town is therefore implied by Alan's acceptance of Jack's offer to hold the planned wedding to Tracy at the renovated Abbott mansion. Ashley has known Alan for a lot longer than Tracy, even though they are engaged. Because of this, it is fair to say that Ashley's particular insight will end up being crucial. She is able to provide specific allusions to their time together that Martin would not be aware of. Protecting family is Jack Abbott's first priority. It's not a criticism of Jack that he frequently plays defense. Taking care of one's family is a distinct consideration than effective business strategy. Jack's suggestion to have the wedding in the Abbott house would protect Tracy from being alone with Alan in Paris, as the Chancellor concurred. Jack's pitch was accepted by Alan, which also meant that he would be on the Abbott's property while his identity was being investigated. Whether it's Alan or Martin, viewers are aware that Cousin's persona is unbalanced. The surprise most likely takes place on Tracy's anticipated wedding day, and the setup is simple. One of the best places to find anything related to The Young and the Restless is this website. For YNR news and spoilers, return often.